Danger Toots, The Smell of Victory, written by E.K. Jones. Sally Ticker reporting live from Bottomtin city centre, where I am covering this epic battle between the evil supervillain, One-Eyed Stinker, and the city's newest superhero, Danger Toots. It's not looking good for Danger Toots, who appears to be overpowered by One-Eyed Stinker's stench. Will this be the end for our hero and for our city? Hold on, there are a few things you need to know before you find out who won that stink-tastic battle. First off, that guy they're calling a hero. That's me, Danger Toots. I guess you can call me a superhero. I do have a special power that's pretty super, and I am fighting a super villain. So yeah, I'd say I'm a real superhero. First off, my real name is William George Jones II. My family calls me Billy. Until this morning, I was just a regular kid. I only have this one small problem. It's a little embarrassing, but see, I sort of toot a lot. You know, cut the cheese, sneeze out the back door, let out a hiney hiccup. You know what I'm saying. I fart a lot. This business of becoming a superhero all started yesterday at school. It was Mexican day at lunch, and I think I ate one too many extra bean burritos, because in science lab, the next period, I accidentally let one rip. It was a doozy. I happened to be standing next to Olivia's first prize science fair tree. Before I knew it, the tree started to shake. The leaves withered, the flowers turned brown, and the whole plant crumbled. Could my toot really have done that? I started to wonder if my butt burps had special powers. I had to find out. After school, I went home to conduct a real scientific and stinky experiment. I knew just who my first target would be, my sister, Dolly. She's always bothering me when I play video games and messing up my win. No matter what I try, she never leaves me alone. To test the power of my toots, I decided to fire a grade A stink tornado right at her and see what would happen. To prepare for my toot-tastic experiment, I loaded up on the perfect snacks: pepperoni pizza with hot sauce, ice cream, and mega flavor burst nacho cheese chips. I was ready. I sat down to play my favorite video game, Knights of the Kingdom. I was just about to defeat the king and take over the castle when right on cue, Dolly came in. She plopped down on the sofa next to me and started singing one of her dumb songs. This time I was prepared. I blasted one out my back end and then sat back to watch what would happen. Dolly immediately stopped singing. Her face scrunched up and her eyes began to water. She turned green, grabbed her stomach, and ran out of the room. Victory! I couldn't believe it. My power worked so fast that I still had time to crush the next level of my game. If my toots were powerful enough to stop Dolly, they were powerful enough to stop anyone. I didn't think much about my newfound power until the next morning when I woke up and heard my mom yelling, "School's cancelled. The city is in danger." I listened as the news reporter explained. The city has turned to chaos overnight as an evil supervillain, identifying himself as One-Eyed Stinker, has clogged up most of the city's clean water sources. Toilets are overflowing, showers are backed up, dirty dishes are filing sinks, laundry can't be laundered. The stink is growing stronger by the minute. Clean water is quickly disappearing and maintenance crews can't seem to unclog the pipes. This is nothing like we've ever seen before. Hold on, folks, we have breaking news. We will go now to the city centre where One-Eyed Stinker is making his demands. Either the city pays me $1 million and £100 of your finest imported organic birdseed for squawkers here, or else I'll clog up all your fresh water sources in this here city. You'll never be able to unclog them. There won't be no fresh water left for any of you ever again. I'll stink you all out of this town for good. You have until 1 p.m. Ahahaha. Chapter 3. The Creation of Danger. Toots, something inside me began to buzz. My mind began to race. A supervillain is using his power of stink to shut down our city, and no one can stop him? Would my stink-tastic power be any match for his? Could I save the city? I wanted to go back to bed and forget about this whole thing, but something inside me wouldn't let it go. I had a power that I could no longer ignore. I had to show One-Eyed Stinker he wasn't the stinkiest thing in this city. Leaping up the stairs to my room, I began to formulate a plan. I dug through my drawers until I found just what I needed. I jumped into the full-body pajamas, complete with butt flap and super grippy feet that Grandma gave me for Christmas last year. One-eyed Stinker had to know who he was dealing with, so I grabbed the sheet off my bed and marked my new cape with my official superhero name. And just like that, I became Danger Toots. If One-eyed Stinker was really as stinky as he claimed to be, I'd better be prepared. I grabbed my swim goggles and tightened up my nose plugs. For extra aromatic protection, and to keep my new superhero identity a secret, I tied a bandana across my face. I needed a sidekick, so I called my dog Buddy over and finished his disguise. We looked awesome. The last thing I needed was to load up with ammunition. I grabbed my dad's tool belt and filled it with all the supplies I could find: jalapeno and bacon-flavored chips, broccoli spears, cheese sticks, chocolate milk, and a bean burrito. I loaded Buddy up with some backup supplies just in case. If One-eyed Stinker thinks he's the stinkiest one in this town, he better stink again. The news reports told me right where I could find the evil villain. I yelled goodbye to my parents, jumped on my bike, and Buddy and I rode off to Bottomtin's city centre. I pulled up to the massive crowds. News reporters and police were everywhere. I couldn't see One-eyed Stinker, but I sure could smell his work. The stench was strong. I clamped harder on my nose plugs and marched straight into the centre of the foul scene. It didn't take long before Squawkers made his appearance. Swooping down from the sky, he dropped an unwelcomed white deposit right onto the lens of my goggles. "Did he just do what I think he did?" I asked Buddy. "We can't let him get away with this." We raced through the crowds, following Squawkers as he sailed toward the epicenter of the stench. We spotted One-eyed Stinker looming over the city's largest water pipe, taunting the crowd. "This here pipe is the last clean water source your city has left. The clock is ticking," he shouted. "You're all about to be stunk out of this town if you don't meet my demands. Ah-ha-ha-ha." My heart skipped a beat and my knees started to shake. News reporters aimed their cameras at us and the crowds formed a circle all around. What had I gotten myself into? A voice bellowed from the crowd. "It's a stink-off. Out-stink him, Danger Toots." 20. Remember your toot-tastic powers, I thought. Don't back down now. Snapping to attention, I slowly began to circle around One-eyed Stinker, peppering him with tiny pungent tailwinds. He dodged left, and he veered right, but I met him at every turn with one rump roar after another. He gagged and took a few steps back. Now he knows who he's dealing with, I thought. One-eyed Stinker wasn't startled for long. He inhaled a huge breath and lunged at me, letting out a burp with the force of a Category 5 tornado. My bandana fluttered in the gaseous winds, but thanks to my aromatic protections, it blew right past me into the crowd, causing a few unlucky spectators to loose their lunches. I quickly consumed a surefire stink combination of burrito and broccoli. Leaping into the air, I dropped the back flap of my superhero suit and high-kicked over his head, releasing one of the most powerful weapons in my arsenal, the SBD, silent but deadly toot. "Ha, you missed!" exclaimed One-eyed Stinker, but quickly the SBD invaded his nostrils, and he collapsed to his knees, eyes watering, holding his stomach. Chapter 4. The Stinkiest Battle the World Has Ever Stunk. The local news reporters quickly broadcast all our moves to the entire city. In a surprising turn of events, a hero has emerged. This masked man, calling himself Danger Toots, is battling One-eyed Stinker in an epic battle that will surely be known in history as one of the stinkiest battles the world has ever stunk. Does Danger Toots have enough tailwind power to defeat this villain and save our city? Suddenly, Squawkers swooped down and began to deliver more of the white parcels he had showered us with earlier. Buddy dodged left and dived right, desperately trying to avoid the white bombs exploding all around him, but Squawkers was too fast. Buddy and all of his backup ammunition were quickly covered in parrot presents. Panic swept over me. All I had left were my jalapeno and bacon-flavored chips. What was I going to do? As if in response to my silent pleas for help, the crowd began to yell. "More toots, Danger Toots! You need more stink!" I tried desperately to eat my last bag of chips, but in my haste I slipped. Crashing to the ground, I watched hopelessly as the bag flew out of my hand and was crushed under the foot of one-eyed Stinker. He lowered his head above mine, and a nauseating wave of garlic and onion assaulted me. His breath was so ripe it came out in green, putrid waves, which circled around my arms and legs, pinning me to the ground. I couldn't move. I felt the strength begin to drain from me. Maybe I wasn't the hero I thought I was. I could hear the news reporter detailing my inevitable defeat to the whole city. This battle has taken a shocking turn, as our hero, Danger Toots, is out of ammunition and not looking good. This is a sad day for the city of Bottomtin, as we begin to fear that one-eyed Stinker will stink us all out of this city after all. Suddenly a voice broke through the crowd. "Danger Toots! Catch!" I watched as a hot dog vendor launched an object toward me with missile precision. As one-eyed Stinker turned toward the commotion, Buddy pounced, knocking him to the ground and releasing me from the grip of his stench. I weakly reached my arm up just in time to catch a supersized chili cheese dog with extra onions and all the toppings. Hope poured over me while I devoured the hot dog. I had barely licked the mustard from my lips when I noticed one-eyed Stinker had escaped. "The time has come," he shouted. "You put up a good fight, Danger Toots, but you're no match for my powers of stink." He hovered over the pipe, ready to clog the city's last source of clean water. Chapter 5. The Ultimate Butt Bazooka. I had learned in school all about the city's underground piping system, so I knew that the main water pipe had another opening. This was my only chance. I fled from the crowd to the other end of the pipe. Undoing the back end of my hero suit, I prepared myself for the ultimate butt bazooka. I pressed my bottom tightly against the open pipe, and answering the call of the chili cheese dog, I released an almighty, mega-powerful trouser trumpet that could be heard across the city. The crowd gasped as the ground began to shake and a rumble emerged. Low at first, but gaining volume, it quickly erupted into a roar as the city's main water pipe exploded out the other end, sending one-eyed Stinker far, far up in the atmosphere. Cheers erupted. News reporters celebrated as they relayed the victory to homes across the city. Breaking news from Bottomtin's city centre. I'm getting word now that the force of Danger Toots' last toot-tastic blast was so powerful it unclogged all of the pipes in the city. Clean water has been restored. He did it, folks. Danger Toots' super toot powers have defeated one-eyed Stinker. Our city has been saved. But where is our hero now? Back at home, I watched with my family as the TV replayed my epic win. Even though I couldn't tell them it was me they were cheering for, I felt pretty great. I hadn't given up. I faced my fears and I used my powers to save the city. There was just one thing on my mind. How did one-eyed Stinker have such powerful burps? Slipping some extra fizzy soda pop under my arm, Buddy and I quietly escaped upstairs to my room. I had some more experimenting to do. Epilogue. The Toot Fairy. The Toot Fairy fumed at the local news report. Her sparkly pink fingernails dug into the remote as she slammed the power button off, silencing the television. Why couldn't one-eyed Stinker just do what I ordered him to do? Who is this Danger Toots? Where did he come from? And how did he stop one of my best men? She pondered these thoughts as she stroked Purian, the most odorous and trusted of all her cats. I'll just have to find out for myself, she decided. The Toot Fairy pounded her scepter on the table. Dozens of cats came running, seating themselves at her feet. Prepare, my kitties. We are going on a journey to Bottomtin. I have some important business to take care of.